this meeting of the Howell Township Council to order. Diane, would you please read the opening statement and call the roll?
This meeting is being held in accordance with Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice has been provided in the manner prescribed by law. This agenda is complete to the extent known, and formal action will be taken. I'll begin with the roll call. Councilwoman Fisher is absent this evening. Councilman Nadell?
Here.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Gager?
Here.
Mayor Leggio?
Here.
Thank you.
Resolution 25-129. Is there a need to go into executive session this evening, Mr. Clark?
There is. We have several topics to discuss covered by attorney-client privilege, land acquisition, and potential litigation.
Make a motion to go into exec.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Gager?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you.
Reconvene meeting. Diane, please take roll call.
Councilwoman Fisher is absent this evening. Councilman Nadell?
Here.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Gager?
Here.
Mayor Leggio?
Here.
Thank you.
Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of individual prayer? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have proclamation.
Lisa.
Who's here, Mrs. Dowd?
Lisa
Yeah, she's
Dowd?
here. Lisa's here. I can see. He's got the hat on, too.
National Arbor Day Proclamation, April 25th, 2025. Whereas the very first Arbor Day took place on April 10th, 1872 in Nebraska, with approximately 1 million trees planted that day. In 1949, the New Jersey legislature set aside the last Friday of April as Arbor Day to promote the planting of trees and to encourage the protection of our forests from fires and pests that destroy the beauty and usefulness of our woodlands. And whereas half of New Jersey's total land area is forested or tree covered, and whereas trees play an important role in the ecosystem in which we live, and trees reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil caused by wind and water, clean the air we breathe and the water we drink, produce oxygen, provide habitat for birds and wildlife, and reduce heating and cooling costs by monitoring temperature. Whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper for fine literature, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees provide increased property value, enhanced economic viability, and pleasing aesthetic qualities along streets and properties in municipalities. And whereas tree planting in yards and farms, in schoolyards and parks, and along streets and highways creates an enduring heritage for generations that follow. Now, therefore, the governing body of the Township of Howell does hereby encourage observation of Arbor Day, April 25th, 2025, in Howell Township, and urge all citizens to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands to support our township's urban forestry program. Further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden hearts and promote the well-being of present and future generations. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Liz.
I also just wanted to remind everybody for Arbor Day, we'll be doing our spring seedling giveaway on Saturday, April 26th at the DPW garage from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. So please come out and join us and pick up some trees. And then we are pleased to work with the Howell schools to celebrate Arbor Day on Friday, April 25th. The Shade Tree Commission will be visiting the Howell schools and doing an Arbor Day program with the third graders, and also providing seedlings to all the third graders to take home and plant in observation of Arbor Day. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice. Please.
Now, the Howell Rebels, American Youth Football and Cheer.
Here we go.
Can you please come forward? I should have to read everything. Should I read?
The first thing I would like to do before we honor them individually, who are the coaches and the supervisors? Please. Here's what I would like for you to do. I would like for you to come up, and I would like for you to speak to the crowd, and I would like for you to explain exactly what these young girls did and the process that they went through.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mindy Doyle, Vice President of Howell American Youth Football and Cheer. So in front of us, they'll be coming in the room, we sent 4 teams down to Disney for a national title at the Quest. Tonight, we have 3 teams that took first place. We had 1 team that came home with the bronze. We do 8 to 10 competitions a year. We also cheer at our football games, our local Howell Rebels football. They're a very big part of the community. My coaches are such an asset to Howell Township and Howell Rebels. We can't do it without them. And so our parents are a huge supporter of our organization, so we are so lucky to have everyone in our program getting ready for our next season. So we're going to celebrate their accomplishment along with many that they had this year. Can't list them all because we won a lot of national titles, so we'd be here all night. So, yeah, I know, I can't help it. So, I guess we're gonna let you.
We're all set.
You're all set?
All set?
We're all set, thank you.
I'm just gonna
I
go
think you
to-
get the first one, too.
Can I get one of those jackets?
So they'll come up and we'll hand the certificate.
When I call you by name, would you please come up and receive your certificate? Head coach, Alexandra Doyle. Assistant coach, Ashley Baldwin. Assistant coach, Caitlin Volpe. Assistant coach, Lauren Acevedo. Assistant coach, Stephanie Weigert. Assistant coach, Melissa Rice. Junior coach, Emmeline Savarese. Junior coach, Emily Rice. Junior coach, Ava Garanda. Okay, now for the girls. Please excuse me if I butcher your name a little bit. First up, Marcy Weeks. Next up, Everly Vargas. Peyton Cardamani. Sophia Hanford. Charlotte Zielke. Quinn Baldwin. Brielle Burge. Juliana Weigert. Emily Vadas. Willow Murphy. Antonia Gurian. Alexia Acevedo. Taylor Volpe. Gabriella Ambrose. And Vanessa Lopez.
Girls, we'll stay there.
Hold up your thing. Smile. You want to come? This is my group.
Yeah. Yeah, that does. Okay.
Nice job.
Hey, what's up? Well, I don't care whoever wants to do it.
I'm happy to do it.
All right. All right, so next we have the Howell Rebels Super Surge. And first up would be head coach Carly Doyle. Assistant coach Ashley Vargas. Assistant coach Erin Clossy. Assistant coach Daniela Hernandez. Assistant coach Mary Sanchez.
Okay, first and Caitlin.
And assistant coach Caitlin Kahn. And now for our athletes. Ava Alameda. Gabriella Matheo. Lily Templeman. All right, Layla Oeels. Juliana Aceveda. Julia Thor. Nina Nowicki Germanian. Kaylee Brinson. Gianna Ambrose. Emma Clossy. Lennon Murphy. Lila Vargas. Emily Strydeski. Kylie Pelzinski. Alexandria Coleman. Emily Sanchez. Reese Rutecki. Amelia Sakalaris. Skylar Johnson. Dalia Hernandez. And Emmeline Savaris.
Haley. You want to do a lunch batch? There.
Wait, they're gonna get in also.
Oh.
He's worried about the names. I know. Like I'm taking attendance first day of school. All right, next are the Howell Rebels Rage. Head coach again, Alexandra Doyle. Assistant coach, Mindy Doyle. Assistant coach, Melissa Rice. Assistant coach, Tiffany Savarese. And assistant coach, Joseph Simcharo. No Joe? All right, our athletes. Riley Anello. Sienna. How do you say it, Sienna? Okay, I see. Emmeline Savarese. Melania Crincoli. Harper Witt. Sophia Torres. Alessia Migliaccio. Emily Zimcharo. Gwendolyn Mara. Olivia Bischoff. Michaela Morales. Emily Rice. Oh, boy. Greta. How do you say it, Greta? Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say that, but I would have butchered it, I think. So Greta's up next. Greta, say your last. What is it? Oh, we never got that. That's like saying Anna's name. Lennon Murphy. And Dahlia Hernandez.
You want to make a second row of girls come in the front? Then we'll get everybody
Where's the
in.
boss? She wants to.
Girls come up.
Oh, this is Arbor Day. Oh, that's what she lives with.
Sorry, we're almost done. That's it.
You want the Arbor Day proclamation? I'm Dan, I'm president. Nice to meet you. Hey, Dan. Thank you. We've met a few times, I think. Thank you, guys. Great job. Dedication. Come to one of our board meetings with that? You want to? We should your name there, I guess. I don't need to move, we'll go together. We'll sit on it. Whatever you want, we're here for you.
Yes.
Get to know each other, get to know what we do.
And you can tell that they loved every moment.
I didn't bring all 17.
Could have brought all 17. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys did a great job. That's, yeah.
Glad to see you back up here.
That's quite a crowd.
Both of my granddaughters there.
Yeah.
The one is 4 times she's won. I know, it's crazy.
Well, I heard weekend like,
Tell me, thank you for not passing Victory Road. I know they're back suing.
everything's part of something, you know.
It's okay. We got a good township committee, so.
Can only,
That's it.
Just try and pray and hope and let God shake out all the good, I hope.
I know. I can't come to any meetings. My husband's home with dementia. It's bad, so.
My mom, I lost her at 80.
Oh, it's a horrible disease.
Yeah, 10 years.
I have a
Terrible, terrible.
Sorry to hear it.
Thanks. Good to see you.
Good to see
You
you
look
too.
good up
Take
there.
care.
And he said the one guy should actually still be a senior in high school.
Oh, you're talking about the dude?
Yeah. How did he?
He's the one who my daughter is in high school.
But that's such a disadvantage for an athlete that age, too.
Most of them want to go the other way. Most of them.
Yeah.
Most of them.
Yeah, I know.
That was my youngest daughter, yeah. That's the baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, most of the athletes want to actually go back to the next year.
What's a big problem in our world?
Some of them are on multiple teams. They'll be younger and they'll cheer up from older ages.
Okay, all right, well, I'm coming. All right. Well, I had a knee that was 32 years old.
Yes.
I was about to say, I think your knees are older than 32 years. Yeah,
It's gonna be rough. It's rough.
how long until you
Well, it's a month yesterday.
heal up? Thank you.
Good night, thank you.
Okay.
Come on, hobble.
This place is
Hobble and
packed, huh?
hobble.
Oh, boy.
All right, we're on to acceptance of minutes from previous meeting. May I have a motion for the acceptance from March 18th, 2025?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of March 18th.
Second?
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Gager?
Abstain.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you.
Reports from Township Department officials. Mr. Clark?
A few announcements. Easter in the Park will be Saturday, April 5th at Oak Glen Park from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We encourage everybody to be there and enjoy. Howell Township Municipal Building, Thursday, May 1st, 2025, beginning at 7 p.m., National Day of Prayer. Friday, May 16th, 2025, here at Howell Township Municipal Building, 4567 Route 9 North, we are having a babysitting course for ages 11 to 15 years old. The cost is $30, and it teaches you some of the first aid and some of the best practices involved with babysitting. Saturday, June 7th, over at Echo Lake, from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., we will have the Baxter's Fishing Derby, always a favorite every year. Great job. Thursday, July 24th, 2025, 7:05 p.m. Cost is $18. It is our annual Howell Night at the Blue Claws. That's always a great time as well. And 2025's edition of Howell Day and Green Fair will take place on Saturday, September 20th from 3 to 8 at Soldier Memorial. The rain date will be the week after, September 27th. So right now, we are gearing up for it, so we're accepting applications for food vendors, craft vendors, merchandise vendors. Last year, it seemed to be pretty popular, so we're replicating a lot of that same stuff. And next meeting, I will have information about concerts in the park and all of that good stuff like we did last year.
Nothing for me.
Nothing?
Nope.
Caitlin?
Nothing.
All right. On to hearing of citizens and public comment on consent agenda items and general matters.
Each person shall first give their name and address to the clerk. The council should be addressed as a collective body and not as individual members. Each person shall have one turn to address the council, and comments shall not exceed a total of 5 minutes. Speakers shall be notified when their time has run, and no time extensions shall be permitted.
Would anyone like to come forward? I'm seeing none, so I make a motion to close public comment.
I'm going to close public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There's no need for a response, since no one
Come in,
came
come
up.
in, come in.
Anyone have anything to say up here? Mrs. O'Donnell?
Well, just that I'm very pleased again that we're our National Night of Prayer. And typically, we have 4 to 6 clergy that come. It's a very moving evening. And as always, I'm very happy to sort of like co-chair it and whatnot. Stephen does a wonderful job in collaborating, getting all of the clergy here. So I hope the public takes the opportunity to come and join with other people in our community and surrounding communities that all come together for a general purpose of peace and harmony. So it's very nice. That's it. Thank you.
Mr. Nadeau? Mr. Gazer?
I sat in the back before I wrote all this down, but I really don't have the energy to go over all of it, so I'm just going to paraphrase it. Sorry I had to miss the last 2 meetings. I had some pretty serious knee surgery, and I couldn't make it. But, while I'm home, I do read a lot. I do take note of what goes on social media, and I do find things on there I find beneficial. And when I do, I usually reach out to council or our professionals to say, can we take a look at this and can we take a look at that? But most of it I just dismiss because there really are no checks and balances. I do understand the right everybody has to say what they want to say on the First Amendment, but that right does not preclude you from the responsibility for what you say. So now with that being said, let's talk about our council meetings. We went a long way when we got elected to try to make our council meetings more civil. I used to sit where you are and watch the fights that used to go on with council members and members of the public screaming at each other. We weren't going to have any of that. And what we did do was we consulted with attorneys from other towns to come up with the format that we have now. Everybody has a chance to say what they want to say. Everybody gets their comments answered. Some like it, some don't. But understand, it's not the zoning or planning board, because those are quasi-judicial boards. And when you come before those, you have to tell the truth. So anyone can come up here and say whatever they please, and that's it. And, if we're here to answer it, we're not. But I wasn't here last week, but I just want to touch on a couple of things that Ms. Velez-Gimbel said. And you can go back and look at them on the tape. She made reference to me specifically, which I don't mind. And she talked about a meeting that I had years ago, which precluded me being on the planning board, precluded me having to recuse myself from the Victory Road vote. Now, I just want to set the record straight, because she referred to tutelage by our council person here. No such event happened like that. I was asked to meet with some people like we do all the time, and I always ask other council members to come with me. It could be Ian, it could be Sue, it could be Evelyn. She was the only one who was available, and she came that day. And unfortunately, when we got there, we found out that it was all people from Victory Road, which automatically causes a problem. So I had to recuse myself based upon just being around them and the Victory Road application that was before the planning board, because that would be a problem if it was ever voted down, and it was, and I voted no. She had nothing to do with that. I want everybody to understand that. Ms. Velez-Gimbel also made reference to the term backdoor deals. I want to say something. Everybody up here and over there knows this. I've told all of them that if I ever get any inkling of anyone on this council or our board being involved in any backdoor deals, the first phone call is going to Ray Santiago. So if Ms. Velez-Gimbel or anyone else can give me firsthand information about a backdoor deal, I'm doing that. And they all know that. And if you don't, please don't use that verbiage, because it's inflammatory. And she also mentioned about working for the public. That's all we do. We don't work for ourselves. I don't get anything out of this other than the measly $7,500. So we work for the public all the time up here. I just wanted to correct that because I wasn't here that day. If I was here that day, I would have said something, but that's it. That's all I had to say. And it's enough.
Something off topic, I just want to give a shout out to our police department. These past month or so, or 6 weeks, we've been doing this targeted enforcement ticketing. It's been very, very successful. A lot of very positive feedback from the residents. I speak to a lot of them on a daily basis. And to those who have given us new roads in the town that need to be addressed, we hear you, and we will be looking at each road individually, because that's how we do it. And if it meets the criteria for those signs to be put up and for us to target that area, we will do that. To the couple officers that have been assigned to it, that have been really working hard, I want to personally thank the two of them. And I think we need to change the way people think in this town, as far as the way they drive, right? If we could get everyone's mindset on just coming through the sensitive areas at the right speed, all right, as residents. We can't control people, coming through town that don't live here or don't care about speeding or our laws. That's one thing, but if we could change the mindset of at least the residents to get into a routine of just, slow down, and we wouldn't have half the issues that we have. And it's unfortunate that, there are people that don't care and they passing buses or they're speeding. It is what it is. Cops can't be everywhere 24/7. Everyone understands that too. And, as living here and growing up here, the town has grown tremendously since I've come here in 1985, and a lot has changed. And it's busier in a lot of areas, and it's dangerous, and, for little kids and for people walking their pets. I understand the frustrations. And we came up with that plan with the police department to target these areas, and I think it's working great. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Mr. Starro and his police department. All right. On to consent agenda. We're going to vote on these consent agenda items. Does anyone wish to vote on any of these consent agenda items separately? No, right? So, Resolution R-25-118 through R-25-125A. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Excluding Resolution 125.
Excluding 125, I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion, Resolution R-25-118 through and including R-25-124 and R-25-125A.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Gager?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The consent resolutions pass.
Here's the resolution to be voted on separately. It's R-25-126.
Amending the 2025 temporary appropriations pursuant to NJSA 40A:4-20 prior to the adoption of the 2025 municipal budget.
I'd like to make a motion to accept Resolution 25-126.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Gager?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The resolution passes.
On to unfinished business.
There is none at this time.
None at this time. Introduction of ordinances.
Ordinance 0-25-15, an ordinance of the Township of Howell supplementing Chapter 188, Article 10 zones, creating subsection 73.1, establishing the residential 25R25 zone.
May I have a motion?
Motion to introduce?
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Gager?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is properly introduced.
Next.
Is ordinance 0-25-16, an ordinance of the Township of Howell changing the zoning of certain properties within the Township of Howell from residential 3 R3 to zoning Designation Residential 25R25.
May I have a motion?
Motion to introduce ordinance 25-16.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Gager?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is properly introduced.
And now on to a very popular thing that happens every year, right? The introduction of our municipal budget. I see this place is packed,
Yeah,
so,
I'm looking forward to it.
yeah, looking forward to going through this and speaking to the residents. Mr. Clark?
So just as a housekeeping matter, we have Resolution R-25-127 up first, which is certifying compliance with the United States Equal Opportunity Commission's enforcement guidance on the considerations of arrest and conviction records in employment decisions under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
Motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 25-127.
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Gager?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The resolution passes.
And then on to Resolution R-25-128, the introduction of the 25 municipal budget.
Okay, so we will take it from here. As always, Lou will start us off with the financial background, so I will turn it over to him for right now.
Okay, good evening, everybody. So the sheet that you have in front of you is how we performed on our 2024 revenue. We did quite well as far as some of our miscellaneous revenues anticipated. We had after conservative estimates, we did a very good collection on interest on investments as far as having tried to put our money in the most aggressive interest-bearing accounts that we can under the state law of New Jersey. This is where our construction fees are as well, code enforcement, court fees, stuff of the like. So we performed very well in that regard. Our state aid has been flat for the last 8+ years. With some of the COVID money, the state released one-time municipal relief funds that we were able to recognize in last year's budget. It was a one-time revenue. So that was realized in last year's budget, and we don't have that available to us as well. And as you can see, all in, we performed and collected 108% plus of what we had anticipated in the '24 budget. This is a review of our tax collections. So all in, the 2024 levy that we need to collect for the schools, the county, the fire districts, ourselves, all in 197 million and change, and we collected 194.5 million, which is a collection rate of 98.4%, which is a very minor increase over the previous year's collection rate. This is around average of what we do collect, so it's a status quo marker, which is good for the township. As far as 2024's budget goes, the adopted budget plus all of the grants that were received after adoption that were included through Chapter 159 resolutions, 62.5 million, which we spent 60.5 and change, which left us a little bit less than $2 million to settle up some of our the remaining 2024 encumbrances. Some of these monies will be moved over to the Storm Recovery Trust and some of the other trusts as well. Last year, we canceled almost 120 of appropriations that were existing in the budget, and we will have whatever is remaining to lapse off into operations at the end of this year for surplus into next year. This is just a snapshot of the township's debt statement. Our statutory net debt, 76 million. 31,000, which is 0.719%. Under state law, we are allowed to max out at 3.5% of our average equalized valuation basis. So our maximum borrowing capacity is technically over $369 million, which we have no intention of doing. So just to show that we have a rather large borrowing capacity as well. A snapshot of our current fund debt service, what we will be appropriating in this year's budget versus last year, as well as our debt obligations that are on the books as of the end of last year. So this is a snapshot for our fund balance as of the end of 2024. We opened the year with $14.66 million. We used $6.6 million in the budget as a revenue anticipated, leaving $8 million in fund balance. We regenerated over 9.1 with some of our miscellaneous revenues, deferred school taxes, and other operations, which leaves us with a balance of $17.25 million. We're proposing to use $7.7 million in this year's budget, and the remaining balance leaves us in a very good structural spot, as well as adhering to the fund balance policy that was adopted by council last year. So just to hit on some of the points for the sewer utility, we did very well in collecting over what was anticipated. In 2024, we were able to realize a very large amount of connection fees that were not budgeted for. Or I should say that were not anticipated. So we collected 120% of what we actually anticipated in the budget. So that's a very good thing. A statement of how we spent the 2024 sewer budget, $7.632 million. 7.4 was spent, so almost $230,000 left to pretty much finish off our 2024 invoices. A minor amount of debt service was canceled off per state statute, and that 229 will lapse off into surplus for the upcoming year. A snapshot of our debt service, what budgeting this year versus last year, and the outstanding debt that's currently on the books are for the two sewer line installation projects on Route 9 South, as well as the Freewood Acre section of town. So the 2025 budget for the sewer utility, we are proposing an increase of $658,611. This is due to our fees that we have to pay to the Manasquan Regional Sewerage Authority. Their costs have increased. That is the lion's share of the increase on the for the sewer utility. Our salary and wages decreased a little bit, and on the next slide we will show you how we're going to handle that increase. So we are proposing $800,000 in surplus, as well as $6.2 million in the user fees. Our fees that we get from New Jersey American Water are left unchanged at $1.1 million, as well as miscellaneous revenues, which is your interest revenue, your connection fees, and the like. This is what balances out to the total appropriations of $8.291 million for the sewer utility budget. Just a snapshot of the surplus in the sewer utility, 3.3997 to start 2024. We used 650,000, and we regenerated 1.7 million. As I say, we performed very well with the interest on investments revenue, our connection fees, and that leaves us a little bit a surplus in the utility of a little over $5 million, to which we are going to use $800,000 in this year's budget as an anticipated revenue. And I will turn it back over to Mr. Clark for the rest of the presentation.
Okay, so here we are with the municipal budget timeline. We're going to intro it today. We will advertise it April 7th. The public hearing and proposed adoptions are on May 6th of this coming year. So As always, we've taken a conservative approach to budgeting. We want to provide cost-effective, high-quality services. We want to make sure that we are rational with our long-term capital improvements so that we are planning properly all the time. We're trying to make sure that we flatten spikes in capital expenditures as much as possible. Starting this year, we are working with our planner, one of the very best in the state, to examine redevelopment agreements as a way to increase commercial ratables. We have redevelopment analyses being performed for Route 33 and Route 9. We've identified those as responsible target areas where those types of agreements eventually will return a reasonable amount of revenue. So every year, surplus is always the sort of thing that we wrestle with. So we have a fund balance policy last year. We try to maintain anywhere from 10% to 16% of our operating budget in surplus. The amount we're keeping in reserve this year, the $9.5 million, is consistent with that policy. It helps protect us against any unanticipated disasters, and it also gives us a head start into next year. I also want to just, before we get to some of the major increases, I just want to point out to the public, the budget's a year-long process. So we're at the tail end of this, but this started in 2024, shortly after we passed the 2023 budget. And we'll do the same thing for the 2026 budget. We will sit down probably in June, we'll start taking a look, reading the tea leaves in terms of where our assessments are going, what the commercial sort of operating atmosphere is out there, get a feel for it. I will say, our council is extremely engaged in the budgeting process. I'm proud to say that. There's a lot of great questions being asked. There's a lot of scrutiny being given. And I think that as a team, that helps provide the public and the taxpayers with the best value for their money. Having said that, now we will move on to the next slide, which shows our major budget challenges for the year. Salary and wages are escalating. They are fixed by contract, and that is a cost that there is not a lot, there are hard decisions you can make about it, and we prefer not to, obviously, so that is a cost that we tend to budget around so that we can assume it, because we have some of the very best employees in the county, if not the state. Our health benefits have increased again this year substantially. I am hearing rumors that they are going to go up again next year, anywhere potentially from 16 to 30%, depending on who's talking. So we are dealing with that situation now, and we are trying to plan for it in ways that do not jeopardize employee health benefits, but also find ways to ease the burden on the taxpayers who ultimately are asked to assume some of that cost. Part of the cost of health benefits is passed along to the employee in the forms of Chapter 78 contribution. We all pay it. PERS and PFRS pension billing went up again. Liability and workers' comp insurance escalating, as all insurance has been increasing around the globe over the past couple years. Couple that with some outstanding revenue losses. So the ARP funding, which was COVID relief, we are through with that, and that is almost $4 million off of our books. And as Lou had hinted at, we had a state aid increase that also peeled off our books, and that was about $825,000. So all of those things combined, 4.3 something million dollars, that is a challenge to budget for, but I think we've gotten to where we need to be. So next slide, our ratables have been increasing. You can see this year alone, they've gone up another 10%, and this is, of course, prior to county certification. So it was about $11 billion in 2024, about 12.1 billion in 2025. So that's an increase of about $1.1 billion. Now, I know people have strong feelings about property tax in this county and the pilot program, and I can say, back when it was introduced in 2015, the council then protested it. We still think in times like this where you have higher than normal property increases, it's probably not the best metric, but I don't know of anything that anybody's doing to change it. So it's, it's them's the rules, and we try and do the best we can to provide relief internally. Our tax rate, the amount we need to raise through taxes, AKA the levy, divided by the total assessed value of all taxable property in the township, which was the last sheet, that's our ratables. And then your property tax is the rate times the assessed value of individual property. So here is the pie chart that shows you where your tax dollars go. Now, bear in mind, when you pay your tax bill to the town, not all of that money stays with the town. You're paying for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate items. You're paying for the local and regional schools, which is that giant red slice at the top. So that's 63.5%-ish of your tax dollars. The municipal is that greenish, grayish slice in the bottom right side. And that's about 16.6%, $1,639 on average last year. The county is about 12.5%. It's the purple slice, sort of at the 6 to 7 o'clock position. Fire districts in yellow at around the 8 o'clock, I guess, position. And that's about 5%. It depends on which district you're in, because each one is its separate taxing entity, which means by state law, it's allowed to set its own rate. So each different fire district in town may have a little bit of a different rate. And then open space, and thank you again to the public for having the wisdom to vote yes on the referendum. That's 1.65% of your tax dollars, and we've been using that for the acquisition and preservation of land. So your 2025 estimated municipal tax rate, when we first started this process several months ago, we were at a tax on average for your assessed value of about $150. We sat down, the professionals, Lou, myself, Matt, the mayor, Ian, all the council people, and we started looking and looking and looking at the budget. So we were able to do better. The estimated municipal tax rate for 2025 is 0.293. It's equal to 29.3 cents of tax on every $100 of assessed value. That's lower than last year. The average household assessment in Howell rose from $542,965 to $595,943, 9.76 increase. So when you take the tax rate and you take that average assessed value, the average homeowner should see an increase in their tax of about $109 on the municipal portion of their taxes compared to last year. Some people will see lower, some people will see higher depending on assessed value. As always, Lou has made sure that we are compliant with all applicable caps. And here's some of the drivers. Again, you see salary and wages, insurance, statutory and deferred charges. Our capital improvement fund actually is decreasing next year. That is money that we have to put out as a bonding cost. We don't anticipate having to bond that much next year, if at all. So we're able to shave some of that off to save the taxpayers money. Our debt service has increased. The good news is we anticipate a decrease in it next year. Our reserve for uncollected taxes has made a small jump. And so our total is up $2.810 million. And again, this is just a more granular breakdown of our salary and wages. And again, these are primarily contractual, and they are set by that, and short of sort of cutting our force, there isn't a lot we can do to manage that. So we budget around it, understanding that we run very lean and we want to keep the very best people we can here. Our revenue sources, so again, surplus, which we are increasing the use by 1.1 million. Our state aid has decreased by 825,000. Grants, we're anticipating an increase in this coming year. Those typically won't go into the budget early on. People may hear the resolutions, we may call them the 4-vote or want to lose resolution. They're the Chapter 159 insertion of revenue. We get it in, then we put it in the budget as we get it, because then we have it in hand. Our other revenues have dropped by about 1.2 million, most of which is the ARP loss. Delinquent taxes has increased a minor amount. And so you see the totals jump by 2.8 million from last year to this. So where we're heading in 2025, we're adding multiple townwide events. We think that obviously people pay taxes and they want quality of life, and we want to try and provide that as much as possible. So we're increasing the opportunities to provide additional events, open space. We appreciate the levy vote. We're seeking out open space for purchase. We will again be looking to revise our rental ordinances so that we have even more control over rental units. We have not been receiving as many complaints, so a lot of the efforts have been well received and have been effective. We're working on a planting plan with Shade Tree. Lisa Dowd is always a superstar with that. And we just started on a planting plan today over at the triangle of Asbury Ave and Brickyard. We're tilling, seeding, restoring habitat that helps decrease the amount of gas and labor through mowing, and it restores some of the pollinators' gardens. So again, as last year, we're applying for a grant to install solar panels on the roof of Town Hall and canopies in the parking lot. The benefit of that is we are coming at the end of the useful life on our roof, so the installation of solar panels would hopefully include a new roof. We're applying to our congressional members' discretionary funds, so we will see if we're fortunate enough to be selected. And as I said at the beginning, we are examining multiple areas along Route 9 and 33. We're going to leverage redevelopment because we want to enhance our commercial ratables. If you look at our town versus several other towns our size, our commercial ratables could be beefed up, and that will certainly give an opportunity to help decrease the burden on our taxpayers. So, next slide. Oh, is that it? So usually there's a slide here that says end, but that's the end. Oh, sorry. I didn't recognize. So this actually is a new slide. We haven't hit the end yet. So we're developing strategies. So this year, affordable housing went through unbelievably. We finalized it today. One of our resolutions that we passed accepted the number that we negotiated. So 304 units is our number. We have projects in place to deal with it. They are spread out throughout the town. I think that we could call this year's COA a success to the extent anything related to that is a success. Again, we're maintaining surplus in the budget, so we start off on the right foot next year and deal with anything unanticipated this year. Hearkening to what the mayor said, targeted enforcement, it's a major hit. The police department's always killing it, and we're going to do more. Code enforcement through enforcing our rental ordinances. It's had a major impact on preserving quality of life in the neighborhoods. Farming, we finally established regulations that recognize and honor farming's unique place in Howell's heritage. I think that was a great victory early this year. And as always, we're going to continue to listen to the public. We want Howell to remain a beautiful and desirable place to live. My office is always open. Mr. Howard's office is always open. People can take advantage of it. Make an appointment, come in. If you want to meet at night, we'll set time aside to meet at night. We're willing to listen, and we're willing to work with you, so. And this is the one I was talking about. This says end. So here we are.
Evelyn, would you like to say anything?
It's been an ambitious year, putting together numbers. One of a wonderful achievement was the number for the affordable housing. So we're very well pleased that we have something that's manageable and that we are ahead of the curve on that situation. So until the legislature understands that it's a horrific burden, we will continue to be responsible and deliver the number that's needed. Our administration did a great job with finding some projects that would be suitable, and we're very happy with that. In terms of things that we can't control, for instance, insurance or health benefits, it's a sad statement, but we continue to strive to ensure that we're able to give our employees the best health insurance that is affordable, and they also contribute. I mean, this isn't a free ride for an employee, not a free ride for municipal government, and certainly not for the taxpayer. But we all know that everyone needs health benefits. We're doing our very best to ensure that we can offer the very best to the employees, and we'll continue to do so and look for ways that may be better suited for our town. But at this point in time, I always want to say we're dancing as fast as we can to meet that obligation, but administration is always striving to find something that may be a better fit. And should that occur, that will be adjusted immediately. But until then, we're offering as much as we can. So I'd like to thank the administration for getting on board with the budget early on in the year. I know that's key to keeping things moving along. Council always felt that we were involved and that you had an open door to us. And that's a wonderful thing, because sometimes, I know that you get frustrated, and so do we. We pay taxes as well as the residents, and we also feel that burden. So an open door policy for us and for the taxpayer is not only a welcome thing, but it's a necessary tool that's needed in any municipal government to ensure that everybody feels they're being heard and treated fairly. And that policy continues. Any questions from the public? Managers available, deputy managers available, our financial is available. We're ready, we're available by phone and email. Most importantly, never hesitate to come to a meeting and voice a concern or an opinion. Because this is a process that I feel we all take together. So, Mr. Clark, we thank you. And hopefully the rest of this just flies by and somehow magic money comes our way, but until then, I know you're being as diligent as possible, and we certainly appreciate it.
Ian? Fred?
I'd like to echo, thank you for what you've done. I'd like to thank the fellow council, because everybody was heavily involved in this budget. And, when the budget comes up, the first question that we look at is our discretionary spending, and there's not a lot of room for leeway in it. We also look at the manpower of the town, and as we find out, we're actually down on manpower. But we do have some things in the hopper next year that could be bringing potentially a lot of money into the town. And I can't say for sure, but I'm anticipating that the transfer station is probably going to be going to court next year, and which way that goes, if the county, if they rule in favor of the transfer station, that just brings a ton of other money in for us to use. So, but I'd like to thank everybody, and thank you for the presentation.
All right, listen, like I promised everyone on the campaign trail when I was running for mayor, that I would go through multiple years of budgets, each department, line by line, where it could be looked at. A lot of the stuff that Mr. Clark has touched on is out of our control, whether it's raises or the benefits and the pensions, all that stuff. It's 100% correct what Mr. Clark said. We have no control over that. We have to use what we can, wisely. So as far as coming in and speaking with Mr. Clark and Mr. Howard and Mr. Our CFO, Ian and I sat down multiple times with you guys, and I know we asked a lot of questions, and you guys were very receptive, okay? And you gave us an answer, or if you didn't have the answer, we went back to the next meeting, and we have come to where we are right now. Ian and I also brought in the police department and sat down with Mr. Starro and his staff to go over their budget. And I will give Mr. Starro credit where credit is due. Since he has been chief, Mr. Starro has really cut back on the police budget with overtime issues and some spending issues, and I believe he's been doing his due diligence. So I thank him, he has a big department. It's one of our biggest hits on the budget, and that's his due diligence is really appreciated. Just like everyone touched on, this insurance going up, whether it's our homeowners, whether it's car insurance, whether it's health insurance, it really comes down to the people that pay are paying for the people that don't pay. It's a touchy subject and nobody really wants to address it, but it comes down to, everyone that puts into the pie, is just going to pay more for the people that don't put into it. And it's not fair, and it's frustrating, and you live in New Jersey, and it's, every year, it's more and more, and, reach out to our LD30 legislators, take it to the state, take it to Trenton. It's got to stop. And it's, cutting our aid is not fair, because we pay, and then same with the schools, they cut the school aid, so we have to come up with more, and it's just ridiculous, and it's not gonna change unless we stick together and pressure our elected officials to make that change. But here, like I said to you, we sat down and we worked, and I feel that this is a very responsible budget. I know no one wanted an increase, but that's unfortunately not the case, and it's tough to deliver another flat rate, and we're going to move forward now into 2026, and I hope Mr. Clark and Lou and our rest of our crew are going to be responsible again and work with what we have to work with.
Starts tomorrow.
All right? Thank you. Is that it?
That's it.
You've got to vote on
So
the
we can vote
resolution.
on the resolution.
On the 120, not R25, 127?
128.
128.
128.
And this is just to introduce the budget.
Introduce the budget.
Introduce the budget.
R25, 128, please. Motion?
Evelyn made a motion.
No, second?
Second.
Councilman Nadell?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Gager?
Yes.
Mayor Leggio?
Yes.
Thank you. The resolution is properly introduced.
Seeing no further business before the council, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next regular meeting will take place on April 15th, 2025. Executive session begins at 6 p.m. Regular session will begin at 7. Thank you and have a good night.